So Avowed is one of these games that I'm going into knowing in advance that I'm going to love the game. It's Obsidian Entertainment, who I absolutely adore as a company. They have made some of my favorite games over the years, and the two previous entries in this franchise, Pillars of Eternity 1, Pillars of Eternity 2, are absolutely amazing RPGs if you've never played them. Now, this game is a big departure from the first two games in that the first game was a six-person party-based top-down CRPG, isometric, and the second one followed in the same footsteps as the first game, although it only had five people in the party. And for a lot of people, they are struggle busing over the fact that Avowed was primarily created as a first-person Skyrim style RPG, but has since loosened its reins a little bit and is also allowing players to play in third person. So the same types of people who will make statements such as like there's never been a Dragon Age as good as the first Dragon Age game. There are some people out there who are railing against how this is not going to be as good as the first two games because it's not a top-down CRPG. I am not in that camp. I love Obsidian Entertainment. If you've never played Outer Worlds, you should really go do so because that's essentially what they've done here is they've taken the Outer Worlds formula and they've said we're going to apply that to our Pillars of Eternity world. We're going to create an RPG that allows you to do first person or third person set in one of our favorite worlds, the worlds of Aora. So for me, I've already been primed and ready for this game. I've been covering it for years since it was first announced when they did that teaser trailer like 4 years ago. And recently, a few days ago, while I've been in the middle of all this Stalker 2 launch phase, a whole bunch of new footage came out, including IGN's final preview, which we're going to take a look at right now, so that those of you who aren't aware of what Avowed is can take a look and we can see what we are getting ready and prepped for, because this is on my list of must-play games in February. I wish it was December. I believe this is February 18th, but you can get early access up to 5 days. I'm going to be staggering this with Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 in February. It's going to be a jam-packed month. I'm not going to get any sleep. Let's take a look at this final preview.
Even after the positive preview for Avowed this summer, I found myself wondering if it was a fluke. Maybe it was just a fun mission. Maybe Obsidian won't be able to keep my interest as more quests are discovered. Maybe it was just a nice day. Nope! Avowed is just a lot of fun. Coming fresh off of trying out Dragon Age the Veilguard, I was so happy when I discovered just how evil I could be to people I met along the way right from the start of Avowed. Something Veilguard just didn't fulfill.
I don't understand that obsession. I have no desire to play evil in a video game. I always play chaotic good, lawful good characters. I want to be on the side of good. I want to be on the side of light. I'm here to defeat bad guys, not have some perverse evil fantasy. I don't understand murder hobos. I never do. I don't permit murder hobos at my Dungeons and Dragons tables either. Like when I DM campaigns, if you're going to be a murder hobo, there are consequences, which are jail and eventual death, because yeah, evil characters don't ever win.
I am ready. Do it.
Yes, you can have rifles and
From the
flintlock
start,
pistols.
I had one NPC dropping
you could dual wield
F-bombs
once.
because I was going to leave her in prison. A short while later, a duo would try to intimidate me on a bridge, only to meet a swift demise. I wasn't in the mood for their nonsense, I just wanted to be evil, and while I could have handled it the nice way, sometimes being evil is just more fun.
Another win, but who's counting?
It's not just the fact that you have more nuance with every conversation, it's empowering to craft the kind of hero or villain you want to be. Sure, Obsidian has a story to tell, but I feel more in control when deciding how these scenarios play out. The character customization options will allow you to craft the face of the character you'll build, and while you don't see it all that often, you can make someone perfectly lovely, or someone that looks like they came straight out of that creepy claymation episode of Adventures of Mark Twain.
Try to survive. Same thing I do every day.
Even the vendors have unique banter. I had the chance to meet the ex-husband of another nearby vendor, and the two would talk badly about each other because of their failed marriage. Another vendor had a past relationship with my companion Kai and warned him not to cross her again. These little beats do a lot to make the world feel like it has a history, and you'll uncover more of that as you adventure. I love these dangling threads that are teased throughout the playthrough. Hopefully, I get to tug on some of them and see how deep each story goes.
Kai, I told you not to show your face around here again.
On the combat front, I also immediately noticed improvements, especially in the sound department. Obsidian clearly spent a lot of time working on the audio and combat flow, and it's immediately noticeable. The sound spikes are so satisfying to hear when you've stunned an opponent and can execute a flurry of blows or bullets, or when using stealth and you're able to execute your prey with an ethereal blade.
Nice.
And one addition we got to see for the first time was the ability to use third-person or first-person combat. Both feel great, and while I personally opted for the first-person perspective most of the time, third-person is looking and feeling good too.
I will be playing this game in first person, even though we have the option. It was originally billed as a first-person like a Skyrim style game when it was first announced several years ago. And I never forget that first teaser trailer where they show you in the cave and you have the sword in one hand and you're doing magic in the other. That initially sold me on the game, and I will just do first person because of that. I like the option. I'm glad that they have allowed people to do third person if they want, but for me, it's going to be first person all the way, except when I'm taking screenshots, because then it's nice to have third person for photo mode.
The only slight gripe I have is that the movement can have a bit of that floaty Obsidian style to it in third person, but that doesn't affect combat all that much.
Who's there? Watch out!
And while I'm discussing minor complaints, knowing full well that Obsidian still has months of polish time left, I did feel that your companion Kai was a bit too handholdy with his tips at times. There were a few moments when I was simply scavenging for loot and found him whispering tips about a puzzle in my ear.
I think there's something on the upper floor. We might be able to reach it from outside.
I know Obsidian is trying to help out new players, but it takes away from that feeling of accomplishment you get when solving the mystery for yourself. Kai, I know how to solve the puzzle, okay? Like, give me a second.
You got everything you need to fix up your armor. Let's head to camp.
But to get back to the positives, loot was also a highlight, even early on. Upgrading from a bow and arrow to an arquebus felt awesome. And even though I probably said arquebus wrong, the trade-off with the rifle is that it has a long reload time, but once you've upgraded your abilities with it, you'll unlock faster reloads and more damage. And the ragdoll physics add to the fun factor as well. Yet again though, my time with Avowed felt all too short. And make no mistake, there was plenty to explore in this small area. I found a spider cave where I took on a spider boss. I found the entire hour-long demo that we had the first time we played Avowed, and a plethora of small stories within the world, like this one guy who happened to be missing a ring and trying to find it. And I left wishing that Obsidian had given us more time to play, but that's a good sign. And so far, everything seems to be coming together in what I can best describe as a really fun RPG. But more importantly, it feels like an RPG where I'm in control of my own destiny, and while the decisions I'm making will have consequences.
Quick commercial break, everyone, to celebrate and give thanks to all of these amazing people who keep me on the air full time. Really appreciate the support. All you got to do is join as a member. You get access to private videos. You can also do super thanks on any upload, or super chats and stickers on any live stream or premiere you see. And beyond that, don't forget we're multi-streaming over on Twitch now, so you can support over there as well. Thanks so much to everybody. Let's get back to the video at hand.
I love knowing that I get to be the one directing the orchestra, so to speak.
We'd be most appreciative, of course.
In both of my hands-on sessions with Avowed, I've only been able to see the Dawnshore section of the map and not much more. I do hope there's plenty of content here, but I'd really like to see more given how close the February release date is now. When I asked Obsidian about this, they promised several biomes would be explorable, and that will no doubt add a lot to the visual diversity of the world. I just wish we could get a peek at it beyond the footage from the very first gameplay reveal from many months ago.
They're keeping it under wraps for sure.
No spoilers on the story here, but the one narrative hook that is set up early on is a mission which takes you to the Voice. This Voice leads you through the map and is clearly an entity you'll hear from again during your adventures. When given the chance to help it or refuse to make a deal, I decided against siding with a blue light, as I've learned nothing good ever comes from a deal with an all-powerful entity. But I will be curious to see how that plays out in the end. The Voice did not seem happy.
Who poisons us? We cannot see.
And that's really the best you can hope for from previews of an RPG like this. You get just enough to leave you wanting more, and Avowed certainly accomplishes just that. I want to power up my companion Kai to see what other attacks he can do. I want to discover the coveted weapons the design team told us about during the pre-hands-on presentation. I want to kill more people and betray my friends, and Avowed is empowering me to do exactly that. Maybe I'll let the Virgin live this time.
It's all right. I'm sure someone else will give me a hand.
Avowed is set for a February 18th release date, and I can't wait to find out just how evil I can be. I'll leave you with this gameplay of how our demo ended. For more on Avowed or all things gaming, you're already in the right place. IGN.
So I think for me, the big draw here is the fact that in the first games, you've always been able to create a vast array of different combo styles. You've got lots of different skills. They do have a base class system in the first two games, which they're sort of doing away with in this one because it's a classless skill-based game where you can create any combination of things you want. Like they've showed off in previous build build videos like dual wielding wands. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be going with like a flintlock pistol and a wand, just because it sounds really cool. I may change my mind on that when we get into the game, but you can also have your spellbook and grimoire like you could from the first game, where you're casting spells from the grimoire, and we've seen that where you're holding the book in one hand and doing a spell with the other. Sword and spell, sword and shield, arquebus, the rifle, the bow, daggers. Like there's all sorts of different weapon combos and ways that you can play the game, and Obsidian has always done really, I mean, much like BioWare, they are a story-first company, and Avowed is shaping up to be another great entry into the Pillars of Eternity series. Even though it's not necessarily a Pillars of Eternity game, it is set in the same world with the same races and religion and complicated politics that we've come to know and love from the team over the years. So I'm looking forward to this. I don't yet know if I'm going to do early access on this one, only because Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 starts like a week before this. And if I do early access, then I only get 2 days with Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 before I jump into this. Either way, I'm going to be staggering both the games. So hopefully we'll see you when that comes around, which is going to be February. In the meantime, we have a ton of other games to get through. Daily streams at 7 a.m. Central Time on YouTube and Twitch. So I'll see everybody in the next one. Until then, stay safe and happy gaming.